In life, there will always be people who push your buttons. They'll test you, not because they care about you, but because they want to control you. They want to see you explode, to see you lose yourself. Because the moment you react in anger, they win. But hear me, silence is not weakness. Silence is discipline. Silence is power under control. When you hold your tongue, you're not losing the fight. You're mastering it. See, anybody can get angry. Anybody can throw words around. Anybody can clap back in the moment. But it takes strength, real strength, to stand tall, to breathe, to say nothing when everything inside you wants to say everything. Understand this, your peace is your power. Don't hand it over so cheaply. When they expect rage, give them calm. When they expect chaos, give them order. When they expect you to crumble, show them your silence, show them your control. Because the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest, but the one who doesn't take the bait, the one who keeps their dignity, the one who refuses to let anger decide their actions. That's the one who truly wins. So the next time someone tries to drag you into drama, tries to make you react, remember this, they want a reaction. Don't give it to them. Stay silent. Stay steady. Stay powerful. Silence is not weakness, it's discipline. Too many people confuse silence with surrender, as if holding your tongue means you've lost the fight, as if choosing not to answer back means you're scared, broken, or powerless. But in reality, silence takes far more strength than anger ever will. Anyone can shout, anyone can argue, anyone can let frustration pour out like a fire that destroys everything in its path. That's easy. What's difficult is to feel that fire rising inside of you, to feel the words burning on the tip of your tongue, and still choose to hold them back. That is discipline, and that is real power. When someone provokes you, they want control. They want to dictate how you feel, how you move, how you respond. They poke, they prod, they push, hoping that you'll snap, hoping that you'll lose your center. Because the moment you do, you give them the steering wheel. Discipline is when you refuse to hand over that control. Discipline is when you stand there, steady, while they throw everything at you and you say nothing. Not because you can't speak, but because you've already decided that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on noise. Think about it. Discipline is not what you do in moments of comfort. Discipline is tested in the storm, in the heat of the moment, when every part of you wants to explode and you still choose calm. It's the athlete who wakes up before dawn, the student who studies when everyone else is partying, the fighter who stays locked in even after being hit. Discipline is the ability to say no to the impulse, no to the easy reaction, no to the trap. And silence is one of the clearest forms of that discipline. There's a difference between silence that comes from fear and silence that comes from strength. Weak silence is when you're too scared to speak, too uncertain, too insecure. Strong silence is when you could destroy someone with your words, but you choose not to. Strong silence is when you hold the higher ground, not because you can't strike, but because you refuse to come down to their level. That kind of silence takes training. It takes awareness. It takes a clear decision that your peace, your dignity, your focus are worth more than a fleeting moment of satisfaction that comes with shouting back. People who understand discipline know that silence is not emptiness. Silence is full. It's full of patience, full of self-control, full of power that doesn't need to prove itself. It's the quiet of a mountain that doesn't move when the wind blows. It's the quiet of the ocean that stills after a storm. It's the quiet of a warrior who knows he could fight, but chooses to hold his blade until the moment is right. That silence is not weakness. It's a message that says, I own myself, I control myself, I'm not yours to manipulate. Look around in the world and you'll see this truth. The most dangerous storms are the silent ones, building up energy, holding it in, waiting for the right release. The most confident leaders don't need to scream. They speak calmly, and people listen. The most powerful people don't chase every insult. They don't react to every critic. They don't answer every enemy. They choose their words carefully. They save their strength for what matters. They protect their energy because they know their mission is too big to be wasted on distractions. Silence as discipline means you've trained yourself to think before you move. It means you understand that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult deserves an answer. Not every challenge needs your response. It means you're able to see the bigger picture. Someone throws a comment your way, trying to ignite your anger. You could respond, but then you're playing their game. You could argue, but then you've lowered yourself to their level. But when you stay silent, you rise above it. Your silence says, I will not let you control my emotions. I will not let you pull me where you want me to go. Discipline is not built in a moment. It's built through practice. Every time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen it. Every time you hold back when you want to lash out, you sharpen it. Every time you choose silence over chaos, you build it. And over time, that silence becomes second nature. It becomes who you are. It becomes the standard you live by. People start to notice. They see that you don't get shaken. You don't get dragged into petty fights. You don't let noise distract you. And they start to respect you, even the ones who wanted to provoke you in the first place. Silence is not weakness. It is the purest display of self-discipline. It is the voice of someone who knows their worth, who knows their mission, who knows that energy is currency, and they refuse to spend it on anything that doesn't add value. When you master silence, you master yourself. When you master yourself, you no longer live at the mercy of other people's actions, words, or provocations. You live by your own code, your own discipline, your own strength. Your peace is your power. There is nothing more valuable than a calm mind and a steady spirit. In this world, people will try to shake you. Circumstances will try to break you. Life will throw storms in your path to see if you will collapse under pressure. But the person who protects their peace holds an advantage that no chaos can steal. Peace is not just the absence of noise. It is the strength to remain centered when everything around you is screaming for your attention. It is the discipline to say no to the things that disturb your balance, the wisdom to walk away from battles that don't deserve your presence, and the clarity to focus only on what truly matters. When you let others steal your peace, you hand them your power. Every argument you jump into, every insult you answer, every distraction you allow into your mind takes away a piece of your strength. That is why peace is so rare, because it requires you to guard it with intention. It requires you to set boundaries, to decide who you will let near your energy and who you must keep away. Your peace is like a fortress, and only the wise build walls strong enough to keep it safe. Without that fortress, you are exposed, vulnerable, pulled in every direction by whoever wants to use your emotions. Peace is power because it gives you control over yourself. When you are calm, you think clearly. When you are calm, you make better decisions. When you are calm, you can see through manipulation and stay focused on your path. Anger clouds judgment, chaos creates confusion, but peace opens your eyes to the truth. Peace is what allows you to pause, to breathe, to choose your response instead of reacting without thought. That pause, that stillness, is where strength is born. People often think power is about domination, about being louder, about forcing others to bend to your will. But true power is the ability to remain unshaken when the world expects you to fall apart. It is the ability to smile when others want to see you cry, to stand tall when they want to see you broken, to keep moving forward when they tried to stop you. That unbothered presence, that calm strength, is what peace gives you. The one who has peace cannot be controlled because their emotions are not on sale. Every day, you are tested. Someone cuts you off in traffic. A co-worker disrespects you. A family member pushes your buttons. A stranger throws negativity your way. The easy thing to do is to lash out, to give in, to let them drag you down to their level. But when you protect your peace, you rise above. You understand that not everything deserves your reaction. You understand that your time, your energy, your focus are too expensive to waste on nonsense. That understanding is power. That restraint is power. That choice to stay calm is power. Think of the strongest leaders, the most respected figures, the ones people naturally follow. They don't scream for attention. They don't lose themselves in every challenge. They don't allow anger to run their decisions. They carry themselves with a calm that speaks louder than words. People trust them. People respect them because peace gives them authority. That's why your peace is your power. It is magnetic. It draws people in. It creates stability in a world full of instability. Peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you build. You build it by letting go of grudges, by forgiving quickly, not for their sake, but for your own. You build it by stepping away from gossip, arguments, and negativity. You build it by choosing your environment carefully, surrounding yourself with people who add value rather than drain your spirit. You build it by learning to be comfortable in your own silence, because peace begins on the inside before it shows on the outside. Life will always present opportunities to disturb your peace. The challenge is not to eliminate the noise, but to train yourself to rise above it. There will always be critics. There will always be obstacles. There will always be setbacks. If you wait for the world to be quiet before you find peace, you will wait forever. True peace is carrying calmness inside of you, no matter what storm is outside of you. That is why it is your power. Because storms may come and go, but if your peace stands firm, you remain unshaken, undefeated, unstoppable. Peace makes you resilient. Peace makes you unbreakable. Peace allows you to face challenges with patience instead of panic, with clarity instead of confusion, with wisdom instead of weakness. When everyone else loses control, the person with peace becomes the anchor. They become the steady hand, the clear voice, the example of strength that others lean on. That's the kind of influence peace gives you, and that influence is more powerful than anything anger or fear can create. Don't give cheap reactions to expensive provocations. Every day you are presented with moments that tempt you to waste your energy. Someone insults you. Someone mocks you. Someone questions your ability. Someone throws doubt into your path. These provocations are designed to pull you off balance, to make you forget who you are, to steal your focus and your dignity. And too often, people hand over their power by reacting quickly, without thought, without discipline. They let anger speak for them. They let pride take control. They let someone else dictate their mood. That is a cheap reaction. It costs you your peace. It costs you your time. It costs you your focus. And in return, it gives you nothing of value. Every reaction you give has a price. When you let a small insult drag you into a long argument, you pay with hours of your life that you can never get back. When you let someone's negativity poison your mind, you pay with stress that keeps you awake at night. When you let pride push you into battles that don't matter, you pay with energy that should have been saved for your real purpose. The provocations may be expensive, but the reactions are cheap because they give you nothing in return except regret. You must learn to measure the value of your reactions. Ask yourself, does this deserve my voice? Does this deserve my time? Does this deserve my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. Most provocations are traps. They are designed to take you away from your path, to distract you from your goals, to keep you busy fighting shadows instead of building your future. When you understand this, you realize that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult is worth answering. Not every provocation deserves your reaction. The person who masters themselves knows this truth. They understand that energy is currency. You only have so much to spend each day. Where you spend it will determine the quality of your life. If you waste it on gossip, arguments, petty conflicts, you will have nothing left for growth, for progress, for purpose. But if you save it, if you protect it, if you invest it in things that truly matter, your life becomes rich with results. That's why discipline in your reactions is so important. It's not just about staying calm in the moment. It's about protecting the direction of your entire life. There will always be people who feed off reactions. Some people provoke because they are insecure, because seeing you lose control makes them feel powerful. Some people provoke because they are envious, because pulling you down is the only way they feel taller. Some people provoke because they are lost, and chaos is the only language they know. You cannot afford to give them what they want. Every time you react cheaply, you hand them a victory. But when you hold your ground, when you stay calm, when you refuse to give them what they came for, you win without lifting a finger. Cheap reactions also damage your reputation. People are watching, even when you don't realize it. They watch how you carry yourself, how you handle stress, how you respond when you are challenged. When you explode at every insult, when you lose yourself in every confrontation, you show them that you are easy to control. But when you stay calm, when you keep your composure, when you rise above provocations, you show them that you are steady, that you are disciplined, that you are someone who cannot be shaken. Respect grows from that. Influence grows from that. Power grows from that. Self-control is not about ignoring everything. It's about choosing wisely. There will be times when you must speak, when you must defend yourself, when silence would be mistaken for weakness. But even then, the strength lies in how you do it. A calm response delivered with clarity is more powerful than a loud outburst filled with emotion. A measured word at the right time can silence a crowd more effectively than shouting ever could. That is not a cheap reaction. That is an intentional response. The difference is control. One is given without thought. The other is chosen with purpose. Cheap reactions often come from pride. Pride whispers, you can't let them disrespect you. You have to show them who you are. But true confidence doesn't need to prove itself. True confidence knows that dignity is not found in every fight. It is found in the ability to walk away. Walking away doesn't mean they won. Walking away means you chose not to spend your currency on something worthless. Walking away means you valued your peace over your pride. Walking away means you understood that your mission is bigger than their attempt to pull you down. The world is full of expensive provocations. Social media thrives on them. Every comment, every post, every argument is an invitation for you to give away your energy. Workplaces are full of them, with colleagues who thrive on conflict. Families are full of them, with members who know exactly how to trigger you. The question is not whether provocations will come, because they will every single day. The question is, how much are you willing to pay? How much of your life, your time, your spirit are you willing to give away in return for nothing? Your reactions are your choice. Nobody forces you to answer. Nobody forces you to fight. Nobody forces you to step down from your peace and hand over your power. You decide, and when you decide wisely, when you refuse to give cheap reactions to expensive provocations, you keep your strength where it belongs with you. Control your emotions or they will control you. Emotions are powerful forces, and when they are mastered, they can be the fuel that pushes you toward greatness. But when they are left unchecked, they can drag you into destruction before you even realize what has happened. Anger, fear, jealousy, pride, doubt. These are natural feelings. Every human experiences them. But the difference between those who rise and those who fall is simple: who is in charge? Do you direct your emotions, or do your emotions direct you? When you let emotions control you, you become a puppet. Someone says the wrong thing and you explode. A setback happens and you give up. Fear whispers in your ear and you freeze. Jealousy shows you what others have, and suddenly you forget your own blessings. That is living as a prisoner, shackled by feelings that shift with the wind. And the tragedy is that many people never realize it. They believe they are making choices when in truth, their choices are being made by emotions they refuse to control. But when you decide to control your emotions, everything changes. Anger doesn't disappear, but it becomes fuel. Fear doesn't vanish, but it becomes focus. Doubt doesn't stop showing up, but it becomes a challenge you learn to overcome. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean you never feel them. It means you never let them drive the car. You feel them, you acknowledge them, and then you decide how you will act. That's the difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is automatic, an impulse, a chain pulled by your emotions. A response is deliberate, a decision, a choice made by you and not by your feelings. Think about the damage caused when emotions are in control. How many relationships have been destroyed because someone couldn't control their anger? How many opportunities have been lost because fear whispered louder than courage? How many dreams have died because frustration screamed louder than patience? How many friendships have ended because pride refused to bend? Every time emotions take over, you pay a price, and most of the time, that price is too high. To control your emotions, you must first understand them. Anger, for example, often hides pain or insecurity. Fear often hides potential. Jealousy often hides a lack of gratitude. Pride often hides weakness. When you understand what your emotions are really telling you, you gain power over them. Instead of being controlled, you use them as signals, as information, as reminders of where you must grow. Self-control is like a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. It starts with small moments, choosing not to answer an insult, choosing not to quit after a mistake, choosing not to let panic set in when plans fall apart. Each choice builds your strength, and over time, you develop a calmness that nothing can easily shake. People will notice it. They will see that you don't get dragged into every argument, that you don't lose yourself when things go wrong, that you remain steady when others are falling apart. That steadiness is respect. That steadiness is influence. That steadiness is power. Control doesn't mean suppression. It doesn't mean you bury emotions inside and pretend they don't exist. It means you channel them in the right direction. Anger can destroy or it can motivate. Fear can paralyze or it can sharpen your focus. Sadness can break you or it can teach you compassion. Pride can blind you or it can push you to excellence. The emotion itself is not the enemy. It is your relationship with it that decides whether it builds you or breaks you. Those who fail to control their emotions become predictable. Their enemies know exactly how to trigger them. Push the right button and they will explode. Say the right word and they will fold. Challenge their pride and they will overreact. That predictability is weakness, because anyone who can control your emotions can control you. But when you master your emotions, you become unpredictable. Nobody can figure out what will shake you, because nothing easily does. That unpredictability is strength, because it means you cannot be manipulated. There will always be situations that test you. You will face betrayal, disrespect, failure, disappointment. These are not exceptions, they are part of life. The question is not whether you will feel emotions in those moments. You will. The question is whether those emotions will make your choices for you. When you are in control, betrayal becomes wisdom, disrespect becomes a lesson, failure becomes experience, disappointment becomes motivation. But if emotions are in control, betrayal becomes rage, disrespect becomes revenge, failure becomes quitting, disappointment becomes despair. The outcome is determined by who is holding the reins, you or your emotions. Mastering emotions requires patience. It requires learning to pause before you act, to breathe before you speak, to think before you move. That pause is everything. It gives you time to regain balance, to choose the right response, to protect your peace. Without that pause, you give emotions free rein, and they will often lead you somewhere you regret. But with that pause, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your impulses, stronger than your triggers, stronger than the moment. The loudest person is rarely the strongest. Noise has always been mistaken for power. People assume that shouting the loudest means dominance, that raising your voice somehow raises your authority, that filling the room with sound automatically makes you the one in control. But real strength doesn't need to scream. Real strength speaks in presence, in composure, in silence that carries more weight than 1,000 words. The loudest person may capture attention for a moment, but the calm and steady person commands respect long after the noise has faded. Loudness often comes from insecurity. People shout because they need to convince others of their importance. But more than that, they need to convince themselves. The volume is not a reflection of confidence. It is a mask to cover doubt. True strength doesn't need to prove itself with noise. True strength is quiet, measured, controlled. It does not rush. It does not beg for validation. It does not compete for attention. It simply exists, and because it exists with certainty, people feel it without needing to hear it shouted. Think about storms. The loudest storms cause chaos, lightning flashing, thunder cracking, wind howling. They seem terrifying, but they pass quickly, leaving behind destruction, but no lasting authority. Compare that to a mountain. It doesn't shout, it doesn't move, it doesn't make a scene. It stands silently, and yet its strength is undeniable. You can feel its power without hearing a word. That is the difference between loudness and true strength. In life, you will encounter many who equate noise with leadership. In workplaces, the ones who talk the most in meetings often know the least. In communities, the ones who shout their opinions are usually the ones with the shallowest understanding. In conflict, the ones who scream and threaten are often the ones who are scared inside. It is not the volume that determines strength. It is the control behind it. The strongest individuals are often those who listen more than they speak, who observe more than they react, who choose their words carefully, delivering them with precision rather than with noise. Strength is not measured by how loud you are, but by how unshakable you remain when others are loud. The loud person may demand attention, but the calm person earns it naturally. The loud person may dominate a room for a moment, but the calm person influences the direction of that room long after the noise is gone. That is because strength does not seek to overpower, it seeks to endure. And endurance is never built on noise, it is built on discipline, patience, and quiet consistency. When someone is loud, they often reveal themselves. You can see their emotions, you can see their triggers, you can see what buttons to press to control them. They expose their weaknesses by being unable to stay composed. But when someone is calm and measured, when they don't rise to provocation, when they don't feel the need to shout, they become mysterious, unpredictable, harder to break. Silence shields them. Composure protects them. And that restraint becomes a weapon louder than any noise. Consider how respect is built. Do people respect the one who constantly shouts orders, or the one who leads by example? Do they trust the one who panics loudly in crisis, or the one who keeps calm under pressure? Respect doesn't grow from volume. It grows from consistency, from steadiness, from the ability to maintain control when others are losing theirs. That's why the loudest is rarely the strongest. Noise fades, but character endures. Strength also shows itself in patience. The loud want everything immediately, and they shout because they cannot wait. The strong wait quietly, knowing that real progress takes time, that endurance is more important than speed, that patience is a form of wisdom. Loudness rushes. Strength waits. Leadness reacts. Strength responds. Loudness demands. Strength builds. Even in conflict, true strength is quiet. The one who threatens loudly is often hoping the noise will cover their fear. The one who stays silent, who simply looks you in the eye without a word, is the one you cannot predict. That quiet confidence is more intimidating than shouting ever could be. Because when someone is silent in the face of chaos, you know they are in control, and the unknown strength inside them becomes more powerful than any visible noise. The world is full of distractions, full of people shouting for attention, full of noise that tries to convince you it has authority. But authority is not claimed by volume. Authority is earned by discipline, by action, by presence. The strongest people are not the ones who fill the air with words. They are the ones who let their actions speak for them. Their silence has weight because it is backed by strength, by conviction, by the kind of power that does not need to prove itself. The loudest person is rarely the strongest. because loudness is temporary, but strength is permanent. Loudness seeks validation from others, but strength validates itself. Loudness competes for attention, but strength doesn't need attention to exist. Loudness fades when the crowd leaves, but strength remains even in solitude. That is why real strength is rarely found in noise. It is found in quiet confidence, in calm control, in the presence of someone who doesn't need to say much, because their discipline, their composure, and their resilience already speak louder than any shout ever could.